Hello everyone, this is Mina العبادلة and this is a presentation about Shakespeare with realism supervised by Dr. رفعت العرير. So I'm going to start my presentation with a definition of realism and going to give some information about it. Realism, or the realism art movement of the 19th century, was the dramatic shift from the ecstatic and poetic romanticism that dominated the art world in the decades prior. Literary realism, in particular, introduced a new way of writing and a new generation of authors whose influence can still be seen in American literature and English literature to this day. So, generally, realism represents everyday experience as they are in real life, depicts people, places, and story. Literally, realism seeks to tell a story as truthful as possible instead of dramatizing it or romanticizing it. That's realism. Then we have the relationship between Shakespeare and realism, or how Shakespeare is realistic, or even what does realism mean in Shakespeare's eyes. So, realism in the context of Shakespeare refers to his portrayal of characters, relationships, and situations that closely resemble real life experience and behaviors, of course. Shakespearean realism involves depicting the interstices of human relationships, the consequences of human actions, and the struggle and conflicts faced by individuals. How is this? An example of a quick example of this: when a queen speaks in a high sophisticated language, and uneducated character speaks a normal English. Means how the characters are true to themselves, how Shakespeare is realistic, how we make every character act the way he is. They are a real and realistic characters. Then we have, of course, an examples. I choose Romeo and Juliet as a source of my presentation as how Shakespeare is realistic. For example, Juliet hesitation. When Juliet discovers Romeo's true identity and their family feud, she expresses her realistic concern about their secret marriage. She acknowledges the complexities of their situation, the potential consequences, and the difficulties they may face, showing a thoughtful and mature perspectives. So, how is she realistic? The way she saw the future of their marriage, the way she considered the conflicts that are coming, the conflict that's going to be between their families, what is going to the consequences is going to be there because of this secret marriage. This is a reflection of how she is a realistic character. So this is one of the examples. Then I have another example. Yes, it's the language and dialect, and I love to refer or to go to this place, like how the language and dialogue, and specifically also the settings, play a role in how does Shakespeare is a realistic. The language used by the characters in the Romeo and Juliet reflects the realistic speech patterns of the time. The young character, especially Romeo and Juliet, engage in a playful banter, puns, and wordplay that capture the energy and wit of youthful conversations. So how is this? When a young character are full of energy and this energy expressed through their speech, this is a reflection of realism, sorry. Like when you play in a tone and I'm angry and you give me the energy of your speech, this is a kind of realism. So this is my examples of realism in Shakespeare. I think they are so clear and they are good indication to how much Shakespeare is realistic. Then finally, I'm having the conclusion. Yes, realism in Shakespeare is an important concept, of course, that has helped to shape the way we think about literature and storytelling. By focusing on realistic characters, dialogue, settings, and themes, he was able to create works that continue to captivate and engage audience hundreds of years after they were written. And this is something about Shakespeare, how he focuses to engage the audience hundreds of years about. Yes, he works to engage the audience, to think, to be curious what is going to be next, how is this is going to happen. I think, I believe as a reader of Shakespeare's plays, Shakespeare is a master in portraying realism. He's a man of realism. The way he convinces us to believe that this character is realistic is his job So Shakespeare is a man of realism, and nothing can nothing can change this fact. So this is my opinion, and thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your listening, and this is my presentation.